Now for the next DIY, we're going to design a beach house. I'm ready to move into this, I think. I took a Dollar Tree wood sign, just a plain rectangular sign, two of the chunky wood house frames to start making our house, and we're going to actually make a house. I picked up two of the wall shelves like this, the shorter ones, so that we can make this project without any cutting. These are going to be the sides of the house. They're a little bit rougher. So I just gave them a quick sand. And then we're going to use some of the wood planks from the Dollar Tree, the rectangular ones. I think these are going to make a good roof. I'm probably going to have to combine a couple together. So let's do a total of 4 of those. And I wanted to see if we can make a beach house. Now this is going to be the side of the house like this. It's about the right height, which is why I chose this. And I'm just going to attach it with hot glue. So I just laid these on their side, put hot glue on the side of them, and attached to the side of the house. It does have holes in there that I will have to fill up with a little bit of spackle. I do forget, but I do go back and do that. I did want to sand them down though, so they were nice and smooth. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing here, hot gluing on the other side of the house. Now this beach house is not going to be up on stakes. I have done that before with the plastic doll houses for a Halloween DIY video, but most of our beach houses here in Vero Beach are not up on stakes, so we're just going to do a kind of traditional house on the ground. But I wanted to do the side underneath so that we could decorate the yard, of course. Now I did use a little spackle here to fill in the gaps between the side of the house and the front of the house, just to make it a little bit more seamless when I go to paint our house. I do like the fact that there's the boards on the front and the back like that. I think that's going to add a little bit more character to our little beach house. And this was such a fun project to do. Kind of reminded me of decorating a tier tray because there's so many fun details. For the color of the house, I'm going to mix some Caribbean blue and some ivory together to give me the perfect color of light blue that I wanted for my beach house. And I'm just going to go over, and this is when I realized, oh yeah, I completely forgot to fill those holes in the side of my house, but that's okay. I just put one coat on there, dry that real quick, and then just went in and put a little spackle in here. It's not going to fill them perfectly, but we're not going for perfect. We're going for fun and interesting with this project, and I really love how it turned out. It's so cute. Bringing a beach house to your home no matter where you live. And I just flipped it over and spackled the other side, so don't forget this side, and then I can continue painting this. I did find that the sides required probably 2 coats of paint. That raw wood really soaked in the paint. And then it's gonna all look very consistent once I paint everything, because I have, the different finishes of wood and stuff like that, but it all blends in together pretty well once I paint everything with this. And we're just gonna go over, I want my whole house to be this beachy blue. We're gonna add some faux windows, doors, shutters, different fun things to this. I tried to add as many details to the house as I could before I attach it to the sign so that we can start decorating the yard and stuff like that. So I just went over everything here, even the top there in case you can see that, and then I went over the sides with a second coat. For the roof, I'm going to be using those little rectangular wood panels, and I kind of want them to look a little bit like more of a lighter driftwood color. I think that'll be a nice contrast against this. Now to decorate the front of the house, I didn't like the fact that you could kind of see some paint dripping down in between the individual wood panels here. So I did go in with a tiny brush and filled those in with blue as well. And then we're just going to use some paint pens and try to draw some features on here. I just did a rectangular shaped door and then a little window here in the front. I didn't want to add too many windows to the front of this house. It's not super big wide-wise. And then I went over the door with some white. I wasn't sure if I was going to leave it white or add more color to it, but I thought this would provide a great foundation to whatever color I want to add to make it look a little bit different than the blue house. I do end up painting it a different color because I thought the white was just a little too plain. Then for the window panels, I'm just going to do some diagonal lines to make it look a little bit like cartoon glass. On the side of the house, I have room for more than one window, so I'm just going to draw 2 windows on each side. They don't have to be perfect, with some framing in between. Just to add some fun details to the side of the house as well. And we want to make them look like glass as well. So I did the diagonal lines on these as well on both sides. And I don't decorate the back of the house too much, but I did want it to have a window back there as well. So I'm just going to draw one on like right here. You could also do a door back there if you wanted to. Now for the door, I kind of want it to be like more of a mint green color. So the first thing I did was go over it with a paint pen. This is kind of the color that I was looking for. But I didn't really like the fact that it looked kind of streaky when I went over it with my paint pen like this. So I do switch it up to some Dollar Tree paint that I found the other day that is like a fresh mint metallic. And it was really close to the color that I wanted. So it would kind of make the door look a little bit glossy too. So I went over it with that as well to get the look I was going for. Then I kind of need to outline the frame with some white. And I do that with a paint pen. I'm going to add matching shutters to the beach house in that color as well. And then I'm just going to do like the traditional panels like you would see on a door, squares, rectangles, a little doorknob. Nothing fancy, just to give it some more details, but I'm glad that I didn't leave it just plain white. For the shutters for that front window, I'm just going to use a popsicle stick, kind of a medium size. I thought this was a perfect size. And I'm going to paint it again with that metallic mint paint I got at the Dollar Tree. I probably should have painted it white first because I did have to do quite a few coats to cover that raw wood as opposed to what I needed for the door. And popsicle sticks are great to work with because they're easy to cut down just with regular scissors. I'm just going to cut down 2 rectangular shapes here for our shutters. It's going to add a little 3D effect here to the front of the house. And I just attached those with hot glue. I do want to add a few more details, but I'm going to go ahead and glue them onto the side of my window first. And then using my white paint pen, I'm going to make little lines going across to make them look like shutters and outline them as well to bring a little definition. I'm not going to do any shutters on the side of the house. I didn't really leave enough room for those, but you could if you wanted to. And then for a giant ornament at the top of the house, I'm just going to use a seashell that I have from my collection from the beach. For the sides of the house, I'm going to decorate them with starfish. These are some little resin starfish. I think I got these on Temu. I'll try to see if I can find the link. I got those a while ago. And I hot glued one on each side of the house. For the front door, for the wreath, I want to do a little life buoy. So I'm using one of the Fairy Garden life buoys from the Dollar Tree for a cute little wreath for the top. And now we can start working on the roof. These are just raw wood. So the first thing I'm going to do is mix some Antique Wax by Waverly with water to do a very light stain. So more water than Antique Wax by Waverly for sure. And I go over all 4 panels like this and wipe off the excess. I wiped it off there with a baby wipe. They were still a little bit too dark for what I wanted, so I distressed mine with some ivory like this to kind of make it look like a very light driftwood finish, which is what I was going for. I wiped off the excess paint and blended it there with a baby wipe. And then the frame of my sign that I'm going to use to display everything is a little darker than I would like. So I'm just going to distress that with that same paint mixture that I had mixed up there, the ivory onto the wood. And it's going to give it kind of that light driftwood feel as well. Super easy way to lighten that up. And then I want to stack these on top of each other. I don't know what I was thinking. When I first went in, I thought I wanted this one to be on the bottom, but then I remembered I wanted that one to be on top. So I'm going to do a panel here at the bottom that overlaps the sides by a little bit to give that roof pitch. And then I'm going to do the second one on top, gluing this one to the other board because there's a little bit of an opening there between the house because I had to stagger them a little bit like that to cover the entire size because I didn't have anything that was the right size to cover the whole roof on one side, and I think it kind of gives it kind of a shingled appearance. I did the same thing here on the other side, doing the bottom board first, and then I used a little hot glue here on top to try to glue the top of the house together to make it look a little bit more cohesive. I didn't really like the staining here on the front of the house the way it looked, so I just brightened that up with a paint pen just to brighten up some of that stain that might have seeped over. And now it's time to start putting this together. I was trying to decide how I wanted it. I think I want it sideways like this with my house in the middle. That'll give me plenty of area for yard to decorate. So the first thing I'm going to do is just hot glue my house down by putting some hot glue here on the larger house panels and glue that here, backing it all the way up to my frame. And you can use any kind of frame or base for the bottom of this, any kind of wood. I like the fact that there's sides because we're going to be adding sand. For a tropical plant, I just took a Dollar Tree succulent that I had taken out of the pot and glued that on, making it stand up in the yard. I want to try to hot glue things down before I add the sand. It's going to make it easier. And for this one, I'm making my own palm tree using some of these tropical leaves from the Dollar Tree and one of their little wood stem pieces for the tree. And it actually turned out pretty cute. The leaves were a little bit bent, so I just gave them a quick iron with my heat gun, and I'm gonna put my little palm tree here in front, just because I haven't really found a palm tree at the Dollar Tree that is kind of ready to go. I DIY'd my own. Every beach house needs a pink flamingo in the front yard, so we're gonna use some of the beach-themed fairy garden items to decorate the yard. I have a great little beach chair with a little pink hat in it. I thought that would look cute sitting here on the side of our little beach house. Just attaching everything with hot glue so it'll stay in place. A little beach sign pointing to the beach that's going to be behind our house. And then I thought a pelican would be really cute. So I have this little bird, and I thought it would be cute to boost it up. So I'm going to take just a Dollar Tree wood stem and glue that on there to make it look like he's perched on that in the yard. And then these are like the seashells that have bases on them from the fairy garden section. I'm just going to add some of those to the side yard, a couple of shells on the side to fill up a lot of space over there, and maybe a sandcastle here in the front yard. Now let's go in and start attaching some sand. I'm going to go in with school glue and a paintbrush and just smooth out the school glue. School glue works great for helping to glue sand in place. I'm going to make my sand pretty thick, so it's not all going to be glued down, but a lot of it will, I think. And then I'm just using the tan sand from the Dollar Tree and sprinkling that all over my glue to give me a sandy yard. No grass in this yard. We're at the beach. Now for the front door, I didn't really like that the life buoy was red. It didn't really match my pink and blue aesthetic, so I just went in with a paint pen and painted that pink. I decided I wanted another one of those shells in the front yard to balance this out, so I added that. I thought a little welcome mat would be really cute. I'm going to make mine out of a wood domino from the Dollar Tree. These are pretty much the same as popsicle sticks. You can just cut them down to size. I've been having trouble finding those for a while, but I have a stash of those. And then I wanted to look like a core doormat, so I thought burlap would be fun. I have some of this burlap left over from the Shore Living line when I wanted this one because I could put like a little starfish on there. I thought that'd be cute. You could use whatever you have or just burlap and paint on there with a paint pen. That'd be really easy to do. I just Mod Podge that on until it is nice and stuck there to that. And then I'm going to cut down the burlap once it is dry. And we have a little welcome mat. I have just enough room there. I probably should have attached this before the sand, but I just kind of put the sand to the side and hot glue this down to the wooden base. Now, I did want to add a little surfboard. I had some room over on the side of the house. I'm going to use one of the giant popsicle sticks from Walmart and make a little surfboard that's going to be up against the house that's kind of buried in the sand a little bit. It did need a pointier tip though, but these popsicle sticks are really easy to cut. And if they split, you could always go in and redo it. They're really inexpensive. I went over mine with a couple of coats of white paint. I want my surfboard to be white and pink. I thought that would go with my color scheme. So I just take a pink paint pen and I just go down the center of my surfboard with one big stripe. I think this is going to be perfect over here on the side of the house and fill in that area a little bit. So I just attached that with hot glue. Now, I did want it to look like there was like a fishing net hanging on one corner of the house. And I got some of this mesh ribbon, I think on Amazon. I will check. I will post a link to this. It is great for a fishing net material, I think. And you get a big roll of it. I'm just going to cut down a piece of that, and I'm going to cut off the sides to make it have more of that net feel. And you can kind of rearrange it, pull it to the side, make it look like a fishing net. And I want to hang it here on the corner just to provide a little bit more detail on this side of the house. And I love the look of a fishing net. I drape it down kind of in a diagonal pattern and just tack it here at the bottom. I think that's the final touch in our little beach house. Let me show you how it turned out. I think it's really cute. A fun decor piece for my coastal decor. A fun decor piece for summer for sure. You could use this all the time. You could use it for a party. I think it's really fun. You could even use this outdoors for decoration. I think it was really fun. It was so much fun to make. It kind of reminded me a little bit of doing a fairy garden. But let me give you a little tour of our crafty beach house. Here is the side yard with our DIY palm tree. We have our pelican, surfboard, starfish, seashells, the little welcome mat in front of the front door, the life buoy, pink flamingo, the shell in the front of the house, the fishing net, sandcastle, beach chair. We got some plants back there.